What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Nemo Propaganda here. Today we got another review for you guys. This is another speaker under $1,000. I've been on the hunt to find some really good products under $1,000 for the better part of this year and the second half of last year. Most bookshelf speakers I reviewed have been $2,000 and up, and a lot of you guys ask me about stuff that's like $600, $700, $800, $900, and I just haven't been dabbling in that price category. So here we go. This is the RBH 5i coming in at $700 for the pair. You can buy them individually, of course. So if you want to do like a 5-channel theater with all of the matching, you can totally do that. They come in matte black or white, and you get to choose what color your grills are at the time you place the order. Pretty cool. The reason they can do that is they're mostly assembled in America and packaged in the United States as well. So let me get those main specs on screen so you guys can check that out. I'll tell you about some standout features, what the speaker sounds like, how it compares to some other speakers in and around this price, amplifier pairing, any placement notes, stuff like that, and then we'll wrap up the video. So, standout features, obviously, mostly assembled in the United States, pretty cool. And some of you guys might wonder, what does that mean, mostly assembled versus made in? Well, the US has some strict guidelines before you can call something made in America. So if you pay attention, a lot of brands in the past few years, they don't want to deal with the headache of like potential lawsuits and stuff like that. So they just say assembled in America because they just don't want to be under scrutiny. And I get that. My guess is maybe the cabinet comes assembled from another country, and then like the finishing, making the grill, the drivers, assembling the crossovers, putting it all together probably happens stateside. Packing them happens stateside. And to me, that's, for the most part made in America. But anyways, I digress. Drivers, these are custom units designed by RBH. And I know that because I was so impressed by the tweeter. I reached out to RBH and I was like, hey, is this an expensive unit? And they're like, not, in the grand scheme of hi-fi audio, why do you ask? And I'm like, I was just really impressed by how good it sounded. And they were like, well, we put a lot of work into it, this and that. And I was like, wait, you guys designed this? Like, it's not an off-the-shelf piece? And they're like, no. The mid-bass driver and the tweeter are, things that we've designed and engineered. And I thought that was pretty cool, especially to see at this price point. That's not always the case. But either way, if a company is using off-the-shelf units, that's fine too in my book. You got a port in the rear as well as your binding posts. Grill is magnetic, and as I said, you do have color options, black or white. So look, let me tell you what this speaker sounds like and who it's going to be for. If you're the type of customer that really likes good detail, air, space, and separation in your treble region, but at the same time, your ears are very sensitive to the types of speakers that generally are known to have really good detail. Think something like a Bowers & Wilkins 607S2, a lot of detail, but really aggressive to a lot of people. Or something like a Focal Canta #1, that's not too aggressive to me, but to some people it is. That's another detail-focused speaker. This speaker is very unique and interesting, and I've only ever come across one other speaker quite like this, where the detail is quite high. It's definitely on the forward side of neutral with its treble presentation, but it is really easy on the ears because the treble attack is soft. That gives it a lot of air, a lot of sparkle, a lot of space, and a very refined sound. So what you're getting is a very detail-focused presentation in the treble region that is also at the same time very soft and easy to listen to. And I mean very easy to listen to, like for hours at a time without any fatigue. And that's regardless of what kind of amplifier pairing you're using. You can, despite this being on the forward side of neutral, by all means, feel free to pair it up with amplifiers that are also on the forward side of neutral, because the treble attack is so refined that it's just easy to listen to. Love that. Huge standout feature. Easily class-leading treble quality and fidelity for the money so far, without a doubt. Let's move down in the mid-range. Mostly a neutral affair. Not a lot going on here. It's not going to be warm and tonally rich. It's not going to be cool and analytical. It's going to be neutral. Moving down to the bass, again, it's mostly neutral. It's a linear affair, if ever so slightly light on the bass. RBH says the speaker extends down to 70 hertz. I found it to get a little bit lower. I'm guessing that's an anechoic measurement. I was getting down to at least about 55 hertz in my room. And I'm guessing most people would have a similar experience. Now, of course, it's not going to sound like a subwoofer at 55 hertz, but for a little speaker, it was absolutely respectable. But I think most people are going to be using this with a subwoofer in a theater environment. I mean, RBH is for the most part a theater company, but these are absolutely hi-fi speakers as well, guys. So definitely don't sleep on these for a 2-channel system if you need that air and that clarity in the higher frequencies, but are sometimes scared to go for something like a Bowers and Wilkins. I'm such a customer myself. I love air and detail in the higher frequencies. But unfortunately, some speakers, well, most speakers I'd say that are detail oriented tend to fatigue me, not the RBH 5i because of that highly refined tweeter. Sensitivity is about average. I believe it was 87 dB. I consider that fairly normal. I didn't feel like these needed a ton of power, nor did I feel like they were tremendously sensitive. They seemed about normal to drive regardless of any kind of amplifier connected to them. And they sounded mostly similar no matter what amplifier I connected to them. I was able to use inexpensive amps like the RSL IA 255.1, Emotiva TA2, or my Kinky Studio separates, and it just didn't seem to matter. The speaker's not too picky with amplification. It's going to give you good high quality sound kind of no matter what. So that's what the speaker sounds like. Its treble refinement, detail retrieval, and being easy to listen to at the same time are absolutely going to be the standout features. But how does it compare to some other speakers in and around this price category? Let's do that so I can help give what I've said so far some context. So first, let's compare this to a speaker I just reviewed a couple weeks ago, the SVS Nano Ultra Evolutions. Those are $200 a pair, more expensive, coming in at $900. The RBH are $700. They both come in a few different color finishes, and they're both painted finishes. Hold on, guys, I got a cough. Back to the review. We're not even going to edit that out. So both come in different color finishes and things like that. They're similar in size, but I'll say the RBH is ever so slightly deeper with its cabinet. The SVS is going to take the edge in terms of final fit and finish. When you touch and hold the SVS Nano, that paint is just finished a little bit nicer, whereas the RBH, you can just feel just a little bit of roughness with its painted finish. It's not a deal breaker by any means. I mean, if you examined it, real up close, you could also tell visually there's a difference, but I mean, even from this distance, the paint looks flawless on either speaker. But what's the difference in sound? So, starting with the treble region, the SVS and the RBH are both on the forward side of neutral. The standout difference here is going to be the attack. The SVS is ever so slightly sharp with its attack, giving more definition to its leading edges. The RBH is going to be ever so slightly, not ever so slightly, quite a bit softer with its treble attack and bringing more airspace and separation in the treble region. The SVS is going to be a little bit more of a balanced sound despite them both being on the forward side of a neutral, where the RBH is going to be ever so slightly more on the forward side of neutral. Moving down in the mid-range, both are fairly neutral. However, the SVS Nano is going to have substantially more bass. That is a little bit of a bass monster of a speaker. And its mid-range is going to have quite a bit more body and thickness to it, whereas the RBH is going to be a little bit thinner by direct comparison, but it's by no means thin just as a speaker. Moving down in the bass region, again, there's quite a bit of differences here. The RBH is going to be much lighter on bass compared to the SVS Ultra Evolution Nano. The Ultra Evolution Nano is going to take a hit in sensitivity to give you more of that bass. I believe it's 84 dB sensitive, where the RBH is 87. So look, both speakers great. You want one that's more of a bass monster for the size, and you got another $200. That SVS is great. You want to save that $200, get the speaker that has a little bit more air space and separation in the treble region, go for the RBH. Really simple. Both companies make good stuff. Next, let's talk about the Dynaudio EMIT 10, because that's a speaker that's treble is very similar to the RBH. The Dynaudio EMIT 10 comes in at about $800 for the pair. You don't get paint on the cabinet, unfortunately, but that was a speaker that I said had the best treble quality, best tweeter I had heard under $1,000. The RBH 5i treble is just as good. It is just as good. If I closed my eyes and you played those two tweeters for me, I'd have thought they were the same. Both of them have a treble presentation that is on the forward side of neutral, open area with really good space and separation with a soft attack. It's an interesting combination. Both speakers do it really, really, really well. Both speakers, absolutely class-leading treble, and I'd say they're the same in the treble region in terms of quality overall. Moving down in the mid-range, the two speakers start to depart. The Dynaudio Emit 10 is quite a bit larger despite having a similar driver size complement. The cabinet is bigger. It's a bass boosted speaker, so it's going to have a fuller mid-range with a little bit more body and weight to it. The RBH's mid-range is going to be more neutral. Moving down to the bass overall, that Dynaudio Emit 10, look, I already told you it's a bass boosted speaker. It's going to have a much fuller, confident bottom end. Though its bass is not going to be the quickest or the tightest bass. The RBH is going to have much cleaner bass, but the quantity of that bass is going to be considerably less compared to the Emit 10. This is going to be another simple one. If you want that bass boosted, presentation with that thicker, fuller mid-range and that slightly bigger cabinet, and you don't mind that vinyl wrapped finish for $100 more, go for the Dynaudio Emit 10. If you want to save $100, get a painted cabinet instead. It doesn't matter how much bass the speaker has because you're probably going to use a subwoofer anyway. Go for the RBH 5i. It's really simple, guys. So that about wraps that up. I don't think I really want to get into any more comparisons. Those are the two most relevant, and I'm trying to I don't want to do comparisons that are wildly outside of the price. You know what? I got one more for you. The Polk Reserve R100, because I love that speaker, and it's $649 a pair. This is $700 a pair. They're real similar in price, so let's do that, and then we'll move on. The Polk R100 in the treble region, by direct comparison, is going to seem like it's on the darker side of neutral. Its treble quantity is considerably less. Both speakers have good airspace and detail, but the RBH 5i is going to have more airspace, detail, and separation in that treble region. Moving down in the mid-range, neither speaker has boosted bass, so as far as body and weight, they're about equal. The difference is tonality. That Polk Reserve R100 is substantially warmer in that mid-range region. It's not what you would consider a neutral affair, but the RBH is going to be neutral by direct comparison. Moving down to the bass, neither speaker is bass boosted or a bass monster by any means. They have about the same linear bass that's fairly tight, fairly quick, fairly articulate. You'd want to use a subwoofer for either speaker. As far as which one you should buy, it's really simple. You want that warmer mid-range and that darker treble. The Polk Reserve R100 is going to be for you. You want that more opened up treble that's easy on the ears, that more linear mid-range, go for the RBH 5i. So, amplifiers. Look, the speaker's it's not highly sensitive, but it's fairly easy to drive. Didn't seem to matter what kind of amplification I used. Whether you've got something inexpensive or fairly high-end, the speaker's going to sound great. The speaker didn't seem to be too picky with recording quality. Love to see that. The speaker performed fairly well at low volumes as well. What else? Placement notes, I didn't really have any. Standard placement in this room seemed to be just perfect. I think we've got a winner here. I do. I really think we have a winner. The Dynaudio Emit 10 was one of my favorite speakers to recommend, around $800. This is around $700, and I like this just a little bit more because anytime I recommended that Dynaudio Emit 10, I always got just a little bit nervous that the person might be unhappy because that Dynaudio Emit 10 its bass is a little sloppy. It can have a little too much bloom, be a little bit uncontrolled, and a lot of audiophiles are really sensitive to that. So, I tried to only recommend that to the people that were really bass lovers and they're just I want as much as possible. But for the people that wanted bass fidelity, I would never recommend the Dynaudio Emit 10. Instead, I'd go for something like the Polk Reserve. But then if they didn't want that warm sound, I didn't really know what to do. Boom, here you go. RBH 5i. We have another fantastic performer, well under $1,000 for the pair, coming in at $700. I think that wraps up the video, guys. I think I've told you everything I wanted to say about this speaker. If you got any questions, this YouTube channel does have a free Discord server. The link is in the description of every single one of my videos. Until next time, take care.